Hi, my name is Jake, and I am a bookish drummer. Welcome back to episode 3 of Off Topic Thursday. The third Thursday of every month, I will be doing an off-topic video, something non-book related to kind of get me going on some other topics of interest. So, for this episode, I will be discussing my favorite sitcoms of all time. I will be doing my top 10 list along with some honorable mentions. And at the end of the video, I'll talk about some sitcoms that did not make my list, either because I haven't seen enough for it to make the list, or I think they're overrated. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right into it. So before I jump into the top 10, I'm going to list off several honorable mentions. I tried to keep my top 10 list to sitcoms that I've seen all, or if not most of the episodes. So a lot of these honorable mentions, they're either just not as good as my top 10, or I haven't seen nearly enough episodes for it to warrant it being in the top 10. So let's talk about some King of Queens, which I've seen most of the episodes. It just isn't quite as good as some of the other ones in my top 10. Brooklyn Nine-Nine, I haven't seen enough, although it is rising up my list. I think if I finish it, it'll probably end up being top 10. But Brooklyn Nine-Nine is very funny. It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. I've seen a lot of the earlier seasons, like maybe like the first 5 seasons, but after that, I think there's like 20 seasons now, so I just haven't seen enough of it. Golden Girls, again, the same thing. I've seen a lot of episodes, but I haven't like sat down to watch the whole thing. Fantastic show. Also, Third Rock from the Sun. I've seen enough to know that I like it, but not enough to know to put it in my top 10. It's also just not quite as good as some of these other shows. And New Girl, which I've seen, I think, like the first 4 seasons, but I think I'd have to watch the whole thing. I think there's only like 6 or 7 seasons. Also very good. But now jumping into my top 10 with number 10, Married with Children. Now this one, I'm fairly confident that I've seen every episode, because in high school, like when I would get up to like get ready in the morning, I would just turn on the TV and put on TBS, and then Married with Children would be on. So I that was like every morning before school. So just tons of reruns of Married with Children, and it's honestly one of the funniest shows that I've seen, and I love like the main cast of characters. It's lower on the list because it is very repetitive. Like, it is a lot of the same jokes over and over again, but it is still very funny. And Al Bundy is the man. I love me some Al Bundy. But yeah, Married with Children, very good show, but number 10 on the list just because it's a little repetitive and not quite as good as my other shows on the list. Along those same lines, we have number 9, That 70s Show. Again, fantastic show. Instead of in the morning, I would like come home from like middle school and high school, and this would be on TV a lot, like on Fox or FX, or I don't know what it was, but there was lots of reruns of the show. Fantastic show, and obviously I'm definitely a 70s guy, at least as far as music goes, and there's a lot of great music references in the show, and it's also just very funny. I don't remember what the reboot was, but this I heard was not good, so I probably will avoid it. But That 70s Show was very funny, and I think kind of an underrated part of that show was the parents. Like, Red was probably my favorite character. He's always threatening to kick people in the ass. Like, I love Red. Also, the mom, the Kitty, she had a lot of funny moments. But obviously, like, the kid characters, like the teenagers, just fantastic group of characters. But yeah, That 70s Show, super funny, super great. And that one, I might want to go back and rewatch at some point. But yeah, it's number 9 on the list. Number 8 on the list, we have 2.5 Men. Now, this is one that when it first came out, I think I would watch with my family, like new episodes when it came out. And this one, I think, is a little bit lower on the list just because I think the later seasons without Charlie Sheen, they're good, but they're nowhere near as good as definitely the earlier seasons. The earlier seasons were fantastic. As the show kept going and going, it definitely got more repetitive with like kind of similar jokes again. Same thing with like Married with Children. Like very similar plot lines would happen, but those early seasons are some of the best sitcom episodes I've ever seen. I love the dynamic of John Cryer and Charlie Sheen, and obviously, I think Angus, can't remember what his name is, but the little kid. It's fun to see him grow up too as the show gets going and going. But yeah, I love the dynamic, and it's just really awesome show. I love it so much. But yeah, 2.5 Men, number 8 on the list. Number 7 on the list, this is going to be kind of a more underrated show. Probably not a lot of people have watched the show or have even heard of it, but for someone who's a big fan of football and fantasy football, this is just like a perfect show. And I'm of course talking about The League. This show is just made for people who play fantasy football, because The League is centered around these group of guys and a wife who are in a fantasy football league together, and the episodes are kind of based around like, who's going to win the championship at the end of the year. And there's just so much going on in this show, and it's hilarious, laugh out loud moments. And it's a show that I think kind of gets funnier and funnier as it goes, because it starts introducing new characters. Like you've got this guy. Once this guy comes into the show, all bets are off. Like you don't know what the hell's going on. You don't know what's happening, but this show is just hilarious. And also just being a fan of football and fantasy football, the show just really does it for me. So The League, number 7 on the list. Now for number 6, this is where I think I'm going to lose people, because so many people, like, this is their favorite show of all time, now let alone sitcom, but so many people would at least put this in the top 3, if not top 5. It just sits out of my top 5. I do think it's a great show, but I do think it is a bit overrated. And that would, of course, be Friends at number 6. So if you want to click off the video now, that's fine. But for me, Friends, I definitely grew up watching the show because my mom and my brother, that's like their all-time favorite show. So I watched it with them, and it is a great show. But I just think, for me personally, there are better shows. I think Friends, it's widely regarded as like the most popular and best sitcom of all time. But for me, I just think it's a bit overrated in that sense. It's really good. It's really funny. But there are better ones, in my humble opinion. So Friends, while it is great, just sits right outside my top 5 at number 6 on the list. And now we're jumping into my top 5. Like these 5, like I could watch these shows again and again. And these are like the cream of the crop when it comes to sitcoms. Like these are my favorites. Like 10 through 6 can kind of go in any order. Maybe Friends, like at number 6, is pretty solid. But these top 5 are just fantastic. I've seen every episode, and it's just amazing stuff. So number 5 on the list, we have Everybody Loves Raymond. And I love this show because of how simple it is. Like sometimes, you got shows like The League, which can get pretty crazy. And then you got Friends, which kind of just, you're not quite sure what's going to happen any week. But Everybody Loves Raymond is just very simple. Most of the time, it just takes place in a very suburban, like a lot of times you're in one location in a house, and it kind of just feels like a play every episode, where you've got some conflict that goes around. And I think this is one of the more relatable shows. Like sometimes Friends, it can be very funny, but it can be very unrelatable. Or, like Married with Children or 2.5 Men. Like sometimes those shows just aren't very familiar. But Everybody Loves Raymond was one of those shows like we would watch as a family. Like some kind of conflict would happen in our family, and then we would watch an episode and be like, oh, that happened to us. So very relatable, great characters. And I do love the balance of comedy and like drama and realism. So this show just really works well for me. And like I said, it kind of feels like every episode is kind of like a mini play going on. Sometimes like if it can feel like episodes of sitcoms are very like crafted and like it can feel like inorganic, but these shows feel very organic. They feel natural. So that's a big reason why Everybody Loves Raymond is number 5 on the list for me. And number 4 on the list, very similar to Everybody Loves Raymond, except it's a more modern version of it. Hint, hint. Number 4 on the list is Modern Family. And this one, I love just how vast the cast is. Like you've got kind of basically three families that you're following, and they're all obviously related to each other. You've got kind of like the normal family with like the wife and husband, and then you've got the gay couple, and then you've got kind of like a older man, like the grandpa dating a younger woman. So you've got three different, not timelines. You've got three different families following each other, and it's just very well done. And again, I love the blend of comedy and drama. The show can be extremely funny, but then it can get pretty serious at times. So I like the balance of that. And yeah, Modern Family. I think I like it maybe a bit more than Everybody Loves Raymond, but it's kind of just like toe and toe. And I do, like how it has modern problems in it, Modern Family. But yeah, all those reasons combined, Modern Family is number 4 on the list. Number 3 on the list is a show that me and my wife Stacy have been rewatching. It's still great to this day. Number 3 is The Big Bang Theory. And I love this show because of just the great characters, and Sheldon Cooper possibly might be my favorite sitcom character of all time. But yeah, Sheldon Cooper is amazing, but obviously the rest of the cast is amazing. I love their dynamic. It also just feels the most unique because it's not, and like I said, I do like when sitcoms can feel very relatable, but I think the strength of The Big Bang Theory is how unique it is, because it's not often that you are following like this group of scientists, and I love like the scientific jokes that they can have in the show. Oftentimes you're kind of just following normal families, normal people, but it's got an interesting spin to it. And also, I love how the show progresses with time. Like, you meet the characters in season 1, and by the time you get to the last seasons, they're completely different people. And I love kind of the trajectory that the characters are on and the paths that they go on. So Big Bang Theory is one that I can rewatch again and again. Like I mentioned, me and my wife Stacy are doing it right now. I think we're on the last season or the second to last season. It's still funny to this day, and I love rewatching it. So Big Bang Theory, number 3 on the list. And then we come to my top 2. One of them is definitely more of a childhood favorite, one that I would come home from like elementary school and middle school and rewatch these episodes again and again and again. It's just a childhood favorite of mine, really, and I still love watching it to this day. And then number 1 is kind of one that I discovered in high school and college that I really got attached to. So without further ado, number 2 on the list is Malcolm in the Middle. And I love this series so much. It's almost back and forth. Number 1, like I won't say it's no contest, but like Malcolm in the Middle is definitely a contender. And again, I love the family dynamic, and I love like these kids just getting in outrageous situations. And I love, obviously, Bryan Cranston as Hal, and then Lois as the mom. I love their dynamic. And then throughout the show's history, like, you just get a very wide range of side characters that I really like. And I also do really like when sitcoms can just have no laugh track. They don't have to rely on like a studio audience laughing to get you to laugh. Obviously, most sitcoms are like that, but stuff like Modern Family and Malcolm in the Middle, and then some other shows that I'm not a big fan of, they have no laugh track, and I think that's kind of a really good way to go about that. But Malcolm in the Middle, I love the family dynamic. I love how funny it can get, and sometimes it can get kind of serious. And again, it is very relatable. Like, these kids, while the situations that they can get in maybe aren't realistic, but I just love how I love it so much. It's kind of hard to put into words because I've been watching the show since I was a kid. This, out of all the shows, are probably the most nostalgic for me. Maybe Friends also, but Malcolm in the Middle, I think, is better than Friends. So Malcolm in the Middle is just super nostalgic. I love the characters, and it's one that I can just rewatch again and again. And so yeah, number 2 on the list is Malcolm in the Middle. But then we get to my number 1 all-time favorite sitcom. I wonder what it could be. It's Seinfeld. I don't know why I'm dragging it out like that. But yeah, Seinfeld is one that I kind of discovered in high school, and I would rewatch reruns over and over again. And I know this is going to sound very hypocritical because a lot of these sitcoms I've been kind of saying like, oh, I love how relatable the show is. I love the blend of comedy and drama, and like I love all that stuff. But Seinfeld, I think it's the number one, like, most rewatchable sitcom because it has no sentimental value, which is kind of a strange thing to say because obviously, like, shows like Everybody Loves Raymond, Malcolm in the Middle, Modern Family, like, just has tons of sentimental value and really relatable family moments. But Seinfeld is just basically about four psychopaths in New York City living their lives, and I love how the show is solely focused on making you laugh. This is hands down the funniest show besides Family Guy, and that's a whole other I'm not including animations on this list because that's a whole other can of worms. So Family Guy is super funny, but as far as like live action, Seinfeld is the funniest show I have ever watched, and it's the most rewatchable in my mind. I love watching this, and I made my wife Stacy watch it with me. It was rewatch for me, obviously, but it was the first time she was watching it, and she got annoyed every time because like once an episode would come on and I figure out what it's about, I'm like, oh, that's a classic, and she's like, you think all of them are a classic? But they're all classics. But yeah, Seinfeld, hands down my favorite sitcom of all time, and probably my third favorite show of all time, just behind Family Guy, like I mentioned, and probably Dexter. So yeah, Seinfeld, favorite sitcom of all time, but it's obviously just one of my favorite shows of all time in general. So Seinfeld, despite its lack of relatability and heart-touching moments, it's just there to make you laugh, and it's super funny, and it's my favorite. Best sitcom of all time. All right, so that is my top 10 list, which I will run down again. Number 10 was Married with Children. Number 9 is That 70s Show. Number 8 is Two and a Half Men. Number 7 is The League. Number 6, probably unpopular opinion, is Friends. Just be glad I had it on the list at all. Everybody Loves Raymond. Number 5. Modern Family at number 4. Big Bang Theory at number 3. Number 2, Malcolm in the Middle, very high up there, but number 1 has to go with Seinfeld. Best sitcom, in my opinion. But definitely let me know what you guys think of my list here. And I'm also going to quickly run down some shows that were not in my honorable mentions or in my top 10 list, either because I haven't seen enough of them or I just think they're overrated. So one of them that I just haven't seen enough of is Frasier. I think I've seen a couple of episodes, but I just haven't sat down and watched the whole thing. It could be great, I don't know, but it's just nowhere near my top 10 list. Also, Fresh Prince, I've seen a couple of episodes. It's good, but I think for a lot of people, like, they watched that as a kid, either when it came out or like reruns, and they love it, but I just haven't seen enough of it. But as far as some shows that I just think are overrated, that I've seen plenty of episodes, but I either think it's fine or good or just overrated. So How I Met Your Mother, I think is overrated. I get why people like it, but I can't really get attached to those characters. It's not as funny as these other shows, in my opinion. Also, stuff like The Office, which I do commend for it not having a laugh track. It's got some funny stuff, but so many people cite The Office as, you know, the best sitcom of all time, like up there with Friends, and I'm just like, it's good, but it ain't that good. There's also Parks and Rec, Scrubs, and Community. I haven't really seen Community, so that one not quite on the same par. But I've seen Scrubs. I just don't think Scrubs is that funny. Also, Parks and Rec, meh. So this is maybe some unpopular opinions there, but generally, you know, like my top 5. Everybody Loves Raymond, Modern Family, Big Bang Theory, Malcolm in the Middle, and Seinfeld. Those are the best, in my opinion. Comment down below, what are your thoughts on my top 10 list? Did I snub anybody? Like, what are your favorite sitcoms? Are there any sitcoms on my top 10 list that you don't like? Comment down below and we'll chat about it. And as always, thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. If you are subscribed, stay subscribed for more content. I try to post every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And like with this video, the third Thursday of every month will be a random off-topic video. I'm still deciding what to do for next month. I mentioned Family Guy. I could do, oh, you know what? Next month is October, so I'm going to be doing my favorite horror movies of all time. Spooky season, just decided it, so stay tuned for that next month. And stay tuned for tomorrow for Stephen King Friday when I discuss The Long Walk movie. Me and my wife Stacy went to see it in theaters, and I've got opinions, so stay tuned for that tomorrow. We've also got the Book of Strummer Discord down below, where we've always got tons of buddy reads and read-alongs happening all the damn time. And we've also got the Long Walk Readathon, which starts on October 1st. So sign up for that. I've also got the Patreon link down below if you want to go support me there for as little as $1 a month, and my Amazon wishlist if you'd like to buy me a book. Thank you guys so much for watching, and have a fantastic day.